and welcome to our current affairs show with me, Pujita Krishna. A lot is happening, and it seems like these next few months, until the elections next year, are going to keep us engaged and hooked with all kinds of challenges being thrown in by opposition parties and other agencies to ensure Modi ji doesn't come back to power. We'll talk about the latest events of interest and intrigue with Abhijit Iyer Mitra ji, who is joining us today. Abhijit Ji, that's tongue twister. Welcome back on our show. I'm going to get it right this time. Abhijit Ji.
Well, Vetrivel, Pujita ji, and thanks for having me on.
Vetrivel. What does it mean, Vetrivel? Actually means vanakkam.
It's just a slogan for Muruga. So Vel is the spear.
Okay.
And so Vel, Vetri is victory. So Vel, the spear, victorious spear.
Yeah, right. Okay. Oh, the Vel is the Ayudha of Kartikeya. Okay.
Yep.
So, right away, what have you, this person called Eric Garcetti is touted to be the next ambassador to India, the American ambassador to India. There's a lot of brouhaha over him because he's supposed to be this woke person, woke individual, and Biden seems to have given a green signal. And apparently the position of the American ambassador to India has been vacant for a very, very long time. What are your thoughts, and where do you think this is going to go?
See, the last time we had a good ambassador was actually in charge, who was Atul Keshav, who was the acting American ambassador to India. Now, generally, we've had very good ambassadors when they've been professional security guys, like Bob Blackwell. Bob Blackwell was hated by his staff here, but he was a very good ambassador to India. Richard Celeste was a very good ambassador to India. So all the security guys who came were fantastic ambassadors. The lady who was there, when that entire Devyani Khobragade thing broke out, she wasn't very good because she wasn't a security professional.
Okay.
Now, Eric Garcetti comes as a mixed bag. He's a Democrat and he's kind of woke. His only qualification seems to be that he speaks Hindi. Right? Yeah. Now, the issue is, what's his qualification before this? He's the mayor of Los Angeles. Now, you tell me, how does that actually prepare you to deal with India? I mean, Indians, there aren't too many Indians in Los Angeles anyway. They're all in San Francisco. At least if you're the mayor of San Francisco.
Yes, that means sense.
I know it's a very rudimentary thing. Like, how are you qualified to become the Indian ambassador to the UK? Well, I speak English, so I should become the Indian ambassador to UK. And I've hosted some white people at home, and I'm neighbor to some white people who may be English. I don't know. But, this is the level of qualification he brings. However, what we should understand is Eric is a lot less woke than the way the State Department has been going, especially the staff at the embassy out here. The staff here, even at the political counselor level, which is very senior, the head of the political section, etc., they're all deranged wokes. Okay, because this gender ideology, victim ideology, constant battle, whatever, it's perpetuating every level of state. Remember, in America, the Pentagon is more Republican, state is always more Democrat. And state is much more prone to the affectations of Democrat politics, right? So state has been going crazier and crazier, and the level of nut jobbiness has been increasing higher up the echelons. They have to be nut jobs in order to get promotion because, unless you mouth off these banalities, it's not going to do very well for you. So what ends up happening is that these guys are basically going to be I don't say they're on a mission to sabotage Indo-American ties, but they have been sabotaging it to a great extent. Right? They've been telling business delegations that have been coming down from America to not invest in India. They've been going around asking people very indiscreetly at parties, how do we get to change the government here?
Oh, wow.
Yep. So it's getting to the point of being intolerable now. And the problem is their social circles. The only people they want to listen to are the people who validate their pre-existing points of view. So they will only go to, say, News Laundry or the News Minute. They will only go to the Wire, etc., etc. They're not interested in any other point of view. See, this is the problem with wokery. You don't want to listen to a point of view that doesn't.
These are
Uh,
echo
uh,
chambers, right? These are echo chambers.
Essentially echo chambers. Essentially echo chambers. So this is what they've been getting into, and at this point, having some ambassador to set the house straight is better than having no ambassador at all. So it's let's say Eric Garcetti is the least worst of a whole load of bad options.
Oh. Hmm. So you're saying that if it's not Eric Garcetti, it could be somebody much worse than him? We're better off with him than waiting for someone else to be appointed?
Having Eric Garcetti is better than having the current staff at the embassy run their agenda. Yes.
How how much of a wide berth do these people have in terms of interfering with local, local politics, local issues? I mean, isn't their role primarily diplomatic? I mean, how much harm can they really cause?
They can cause a lot of harm because, see, they all have a certain quota of scholarships, of introductions, putting their foot down on who gets a contract from a certain American think tank that wants to work here, etc., etc., the fixing up and this and that. So in terms of financial power and networking power, they're very powerful. And so the damage they end up doing is quite critical, actually, if you look at it, you see. So this is a very real concern that we have.
Oh. And what about the Indian administration? Do you think that we are awake to these kind of vulnerabilities? No, we're not.
No. We're so crude. I don't think we're even fully aware of our defense weaknesses, which is in your face and tangible and present. Things like information warfare and esoteric stuff happening in the information world. We haven't woken up to it at all. The government's understanding of it is look, they have an understanding of defense. I don't agree with that understanding, but at least there is some understanding. Of this, there is no understanding at all. The minutiae, the granularity of it, none, zero.
What about yes, Manish Sisodia, and what is there's a lot of drama, high drama happening in Delhi, and latest being that Atishi ji has been appointed the education minister after all that song and dance about how Manish Sisodia ji is the Ram and she is going to be Bharat, and she's only going to be looking after the portfolio because he's away temporarily, etc., etc. So all of that is very well, but is Manish Sisodia going to talk? Is he?
No,
No.
he's not going to talk because he's got too much dependent on it. But it doesn't matter because apparently one of the guys who was named in that thing has turned approver. So he's been, whistling like a bird. And we still don't know who it is, though. But one of them, I know for a fact, has turned approver. But I suspect, in spite of that, they won't be able to get a conviction in this case. They won't be able to get a conviction because our financial intelligence agencies are notoriously bad at what they do. Number one. Number two, you'll never be able to pin this on Arvind because Arvind doesn't sign files.
Yes.
He leaves all the files to other people. He only gives verbal instructions and lets other people sign the files. I think in the case of the liquor policy, the issue was it was so badly written. It was so transparent कि ये चोरी के लिए लिखा गया है.
Unbelievable.
It was actually really quite sad because you wanted things that are, I mean, if you want to steal money, at least do it in a sophisticated way. But getting a 10th standard boy to write how to steal is a bit It was very crudely done. So,
That's very
yeah, well,
audacious, right? I mean, they were clearly quite convinced and smug in it all. I mean, they probably felt that they were above the law and nothing's going to, that's going to happen to them.
uh, and justifiably so, because if you look at the press coverage of that policy, have you read a single explainer of what the policy is and where the ghotala happened?
Well, I believe it was. I mean, I've just tried to understand what the Ghotala
No,
is.
no, no. But have you read an explainer?
No, no.
No newspaper or TV channel will explain it to you, because they all depend on Arvind Kejriwal for money. So they will report the day-to-day action in the case. They will never tell you what the case is actually about.
Hmm. So just for those who may be in the dark amongst those who are watching, would you give us a small, like a little, like a little
No, no.
explain yourself?
We'll do this at a later date. We'll do this
Okay.
at a later date, because there's one thing which I'm not clear about, which would tie everything together. Uh, but let's just wait for another day to. We'll do it the next time round.
And how deep and how dirty Kavita Rao's hands in all of this? I'm concerned because I live in Telangana. I'm from Hyderabad, and I definitely want her to be booked.
Well, I mean, I really don't know what role she played. I'm not aware of it. Again, the problem is, the lack of reporting on this. So I really don't know how involved Kavita is in this, and it's a pity, really, because apparently her father is one of the best chief ministers as per every businessman I know. There's not a single businessman I know who doesn't like KCR. Huh? Alas.
No, I'm sure it's the only group of people who think of him as a good chief minister, maybe
Which
because
is a
of that.
very good thing, because businesses is what makes money. Business is what gives people jobs. If they're happy with somebody, I'm happy with somebody.
But the question is, why are they happy with him? Is it because the policies are lax, because it gives them a lot of latitude
No,
to do
because
whatever they want?
apparently whatever they want gets done. There is, and in a good way. This isn't, extortion and things like that happening. It's like, look, this isn't there. Can you make these regulatory changes? He'll make the regulatory changes. His only deal is you invest, you give more jobs and things like that, which is the way it should be. The quid pro quo should be you give me money and I'll do this. The quid pro quo should be you want me to do this. You set up so many industries and employ so many people, which is a very good thing.
But yes, there are also a lot of allegations of
Of course, but
misappropriation.
corruption किस सरकार में नहीं होता है ये
वो तो
बताओ.
बात सही है, but to the extent that it's pretty startling. So KCR may not come back to power in Telangana, is what they're saying, but let's see
हाँ,
what happens.
हाँ.
Yeah. Now, yes, we simply cannot have a show without talking about Rahul Gandhi. So, and the man does, his antics are, definitely very worthy of discussion. So there was an uproar in the parliament, and you had the vice president actually, openly come out and criticize him for it, which is quite, don't you think it was unprecedented, like the way in which he came out and slammed his recent tirade, and predictably there was an uproar, etc. So, what are your thoughts on this? And do you think this man is ever going to, be, what do you call it? I mean, where is this going to go? Is it just going to get worse and worse, this controversy?
See,
Or
let's
will
be
he
let's be
apologize?
very let's be very clear about one thing, that any BJP outrage on what he said is totally concocted. Every BJP person I know is absolutely thrilled at what he
That he's
said.
doing.
In fact, I had a BJP leader who I was talking to before he went to London. I didn't know he was going to London. And he told me, this boy is going to London and it's going to be a major PR bonanza for us.
He said that?
So, yeah, he literally said that. I don't think people realize how happy BJP leaders get when Rahul has a talking tour. They genuinely think the outrage is real, and
मजा
they've
आएगा.
yeah, it's actually th- look, if you actually went and asked the BJP to fund one of Rahul's lecture tours, I dare say they'll actually do it, because they've never seen a higher yield on investment than Rahul Gandhi is for them. He's not for the Congress, that's a different matter.
Correct.
But he's very good for the BJP. Now, notice what they did. What he said in London should have technically disqualified him from parliament because it violated his parliamentary oath to uphold the sovereignty of India. But he asked for foreign interference in it. Now, did you notice they never brought that up?
Exactly.
It was so they are basically, this is one choreographed ballet that the BJP is doing, where they're pretending to be outraged. You look at their faces. Tell me, I want all our audience to go through the faces of that so-called outrage today, and you find me one face in the BJP that wasn't smiling or giving a half smile at least.
No one takes him seriously.
They will never expel him from parliament because they've given him something that they needed. So they're like, why will we expel him from parliament? He's our biggest asset in parliament.
True. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it that way, yes.
And mind you, he isn't here to defend his speech. It's Kharge having to defend a speech that Kharge did not give.
That's hubris. That's just too much arrogance running in the veins of this.
But see, that's Rahul Gandhi. That is, I think everybody who knows him now he's descending into madness. Before, he used to kind of listen. He wouldn't do, but at least he'd listen. Now he doesn't even want to listen to people. Unless you're telling him that what you're doing is right, he has no time for you.
So, sometimes it is a little difficult to try and demystify this character, because there are so many binaries running in your mind.
There is no mystery. I think the issue is you're seeing a mystery where there is no mystery.
There is no mystery.
The problem here is you have a fourth generation ruler who has a very, very high opinion of himself.
Does he have a high opinion, or is he? I kind of feel like
very extremely, because remember, growing up in this family, right? What is his background? I mean, his father died very young, and Indian fathers are like, even if you get 99, the immediate question is, what an idiot I've given birth to. He only gets 99 in mathematics, sir. Is there any difference between 99 and 0, sir? You either get 100, anything other than 100 is 0 only.
0 only.
So this is every Indian father and every Indian mother. Okay. We can suspect, I mean, I don't know for sure, but Rajiv might have been like that. This is not the European approach to child raising. The European approach is encourage the kid at everything. So, I soiled my pants. Oh, so sweet, baby. Come, let's change your diapers. Mommy, I got 30 in maths, 30 on 100 in maths. Oh, no problem, baby. Next time we'll get 40 on 100. And then, maybe the mother wasn't like this. Maybe she's actually Indianized quite a bit, So, the issue was all the hangers around. बच्चा है, इसने अपने नानी को मरते हुए देखा है, इसने अपने पापा को मरते हुए देखा है. Let's be sweet to him. Let's be kind to him. He has grown up completely with the upbringing which has told him he can never go wrong. He is a wonderful human being. Doesn't matter what he does, he's still a wonderful human being. All his indiscretions, rudeness, obnoxiousness would have been forgiven, saying, look, he's been through a lot, give the kid a break. Okay. Now, imagine when you've come from a situation like that, and you are for the first time exposed to public accountability through elections. And you fail in 50 out of the 54 elections that you've faced. How does a kid like that react to this? He doubles down on his comfort zone. He externalizes his own failures. I didn't fail. The elections were rigged. I didn't fail. It was fascist, non-democratic forces that cheated me out of an election. So I don't know where the mystery here is. It's a very, very transparent thing. And I think one of the good things that came out in this London trip was the transparency with which you saw it. He was talking about forgiveness and love. हमने प्यार का दुकान खोल रखा है, and you need to listen. People don't listen. Did you see what that old man, the question he asked him at the inauguration? The moment he was talking well about Indira Gandhi and Nehru,
he was very happy,
and he was engaging with the old man. The moment that googly came at the end, did you see how his eyes narrowed down?
There is no question, he said. There is no question.
The air was expelled from his chest. And he got really nasty. There is no question. There is no question. There is no question. There is no question. That is the Rahul Gandhi. Watch that particular section of the clip over and over again. It's right at the end. It's in the last 10 minutes of that thing.
Yes.
That should tell you that is the real Rajiv Gandhi. For the once in his life, he's been asked an inconvenient question. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that anybody who asks inconvenient questions during Congress press conferences gets kicked out. वो आपको कोई नहीं बताएगा. Right. Here it was caught. Here it was caught
because
on
he
camera.
was speaking favorably for such a long time. They didn't
So
expect.
what happens in Congress press conferences is, unless you have brown-nosed, you are not allowed to ask a question. You will not be recognized. It's not a free-for-all. So you have a press conference, but it's not that everybody gets to ask the question. Who asked the question is determined prior.
Pre-decided.
And they know in order to maintain access, they have to ask nice questions. Right? So all these people doing Godi media, I would really want any one of them to do a proper combative, confrontive interview of him. Okay. Number two, you will get kicked out if you don't. Number three, this was the one time where it was not only a good question to ask, but it was couched so well.
Beautifully.
I mean, I wouldn't actually blame Rahul for thinking that this guy was a RSS person.
Totally.
I'm sure to this day he thinks this was a guy who was sent by the RSS to entrap. Because till then he was engaging with him. How did you find my grandmother? How did you think of my how did you think of my grandmother? What do you think of my grandfather? Did you like my grandfather? It was like really cordial to fro between grandson and Uncle G and whatever, till the last minute. So moment of great transparency.
Yeah. No, I merely said mystery because with Rajiv Gandhi and with Rahul Gandhi, there is this constant, thing that is being, this idea or notion that they're reluctant. Rajiv Gandhi was a reluctant prime minister. Everybody said he just wanted to be a pilot. He didn't want to be a prime minister. He was thrown into it. Then the same story is being and has been churned about Rahul Gandhi that, look, he's not interested. The poor guy is being forced into it. So I've always wondered, I mean, is he really being forced or he wants to be there? And
but see, if he's being forced into it, who is forcing you then?
Mother dearest.
No, but see, how can she force you?
बेटा है बोलती होगी कि तुम्हारे
नहीं बेटा है. The party has been without a non-Gandhi prime minister for a very long time. They had Narasimha Rao, then they had Manmohan Singh. What is the need for the family? What is the need for the family to be there?
I mean, for the fact that after Sonia passes or after she's not been in the limelight for a very long time, there has to be somebody who seems a Gandhi representative, even if he doesn't become the prime minister, but at least somebody who, like a masthead, for the party. And that masthead has got to be.
Why?
Well, money, power.
See,
Yeah.
he could have de-Gandhified the party. He could have said, boss, this is the last Gandhi generation. I am devolving power. You find a replacement. He also doesn't do that. See, he has gotten so used to the power and the adulation. Tell me, who will want Rahul Gandhi to give a speech minus his hold over the Congress party? The only relevance and recognition he gets is because of his role in the Congress party. Okay. Indira Gandhi was a very engaging person. Okay. I remember as a kid, un dinon mein, when Delhi's population was just 4 million, my dad used to be like, come, let's go meet the Prime Minister. I'd be like, हाँ, chalo, chalo, chalo. Yeah, in those days, bureaucrats could just walk into the Prime Minister's house.
Acha.
Yeah. And she was a really sweet woman, She used to sit and chat and she used to be very engaging with you. So I remember walking into the Prime Minister's house, not walking, being driven. It was quite far. उन दिनों में Delhi, quite far was like 2 kilometers. Yeah. So, we used to live in Chanakyapuri and the house was also in Chanakyapuri.
I was
But we
just
were
going
on
to say one side
Yeah,
of
so we were-
Chanakyapuri.
So we were on one side of the polo ground and she was on the other side of the polo ground, you see. So coming around required about a 10-minute drive. In those days, you could drive at more than 20, 30 kilometers per hour. So it used to take about 15 minutes to get to her house. Otherwise, it was like whatever. But you could easily go in there, very accessible, because remember in those days, India was small. Delhi was just a city of 4 million people. Today, Delhi is a city of 70, 75 million people in the greater metropolitan area. Right? Delhi is the size of Germany. So,
I would never think that
yeah.
way.
Yeah, Delhi is the size of Germany, basically. So what ends up happening is, and I'm not talking about the NCR. The NCR alone is about 25, 26 million. Greater metropolitan area, meaning going right up to Meerut, because Meerut is now a suburb of Delhi. It's now 75 million, size of Germany. You could just walk up. She was very engaging. I never met Rajiv Gandhi personally, but everybody who met him was like, he was just really affable. You could talk to him. Issues.
Yeah, very, very well of Rajiv Gandhi, that he was a nice man.
Rajiv Gandhi was always a nice man. I can tell you personally, I mean, what interest did she have in a 2-bit little kid of zero relevance who used to talk rubbish like me? I mean, it wasn't that my father's vote was going to change anything for her to or fro. Na? Yet she would take time and, play with you and things like that. There was that basic old world hospitality. Sheila Dikshit had that. Sheila Dikshit was like everybody's auntie. You could go crib to her, complain to her. There was a certain graciousness about that generation. I think what Rahul lacks is the graciousness of his grandmother and his father.
Maybe too much influence of the mother, I think.
No, I don't think it's the mother's influence, because I think if anybody growing up in Delhi at that time would have been extremely gracious. Right? I think it's latter circumstances that have made him like that. Maybe. But I don't know Sonia, so possibly, but. Yeah.
And Priyanka Gandhi, do you think she's ever going to make her debut? Is she going to uproot her, or replace her brother?
I think she'll stand from Rai Bareli, but I think the Rai Bareli seat is lost. It's the last foothold that they had, toehold that they had in UP, and I think it's lost. But apparently she's no different. She's apparently not as obnoxious as Rahul. She doesn't say certain things in public, but apparently in private she's no less vicious than him.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, before we end, I wanted you to share your thoughts on what's been happening in the South. This is raging controversy over North Indians versus South Indians. And of course, this has been a simmering problem forever, as far as I remember, in Tamil Nadu especially. Between the South Indians, and only I think recently in the last 10, 12 years that there has been a sudden surge of North Indian population in Chennai. So, what do you can you share your thoughts on this issue?
So have you noticed for the last 30, 40 years at least, it's not been a problem. It's not been raised. So why has it come up again? And notice Stalin and his family, every member of his family, uh, have been encouraging this prior to the elections. There's that famous video clip of him, the way he was deriding North Indian laborers just before the 2019 elections. Was it the 2020 elections? I forget. Saying that these guys are sending Bihari laborers here for jobs. And they think that by getting domicile out here, these Biharis will start voting for the BJP. And they'll convert Tamil Nadu into a BJP state.
So that's their fear.
Now, right. Now, there is basically governance in Tamil Nadu has come to a halt. There's a fight on between the son and the son-in-law. Okay, the son-in-law controls the finances and things, whereas the son is being projected as taking over the party.
Who's this Uday?
Okay. There's lots of.
Who's the son?
Udayanithi is the son.
Son and
Udayanithi is the son. I forget his name now.
Okay.
But there is a big rift out there. There are factions forming, and governance has come to a halt. Now, when governance comes to a halt and you don't have all of this, you then start stoking identity politics, which is what they had been doing till this came back very badly to bite them. The good result in all of this is whatever happened, nobody died, number one. Number two, they will not raise it again. They've been shamed into stopping whatever they were. Did the internet exaggerate whatever happened? Yes, they did. But did it have the effect of shutting up the DMK's line on this nonsense? Yes, it did. They are not, I don't think for the next 2-3 elections, will they start talking about North Indians this way anymore.
Oh, so you think they're being shamed into silence? Is that your feeling?
Basically.
Okay. But what do you really think about all this? I mean, what the DMK apart, the politics apart, do you think there's any legitimacy to this claim that a lot of Tamilians feel that, oh, these people come here, but they don't learn the language and all of that? How true is that? I mean, as half Tamilian, what is your view on?
Look, I mean, for the last 30, 40 years, if they haven't felt it, suddenly how are they starting to feel it? The problem is in any country, in any city or village in India, there are a lot of things, people that you call terpurkis, right? Which is roadside loafers. ठीक है, जिनका कोई काम नहीं होता है पूरा दिन, they just keep doing whatever. Now suddenly you go tell them, see, you are a street loafer like Rahul Gandhi. I am not losing elections because of me. I am losing elections because the EVMs are manipulated and there's a fascist government. You go tell this guy, see, you are not a worthless street loafer. It's that Bihari and that Jharkhandi coming here and taking your job that has put you out of the job of Siemens ka general manager. You're a 10th fail, but they'll tell you could have become Siemens general manager were it not for that Jharkhandi fellow and this thing. And look at his gall. He comes here and he can't even speak Tamil. And yet he's the general manager of Siemens. And look at you are 10th fail, but in Tamil, the most divine of all languages, and you are not Siemens ka general manager. How do you think he's going to react? He doesn't want to blame himself. He doesn't want to admit that he's a terpurki. So he will go burn a few autos just to display his,
anger.
Anger at
general manager.
और उस बेचारे ऑटो वाले ने तो कुछ नहीं किया तेरे को, तू उसका ऑटो क्यों जला दिया? वो जो गाड़ी था, वो गाड़ी ने क्या किया तुमको कि उसका विंडशील्ड तोड़ दिया तुमने?
Exactly.
But this is how things work in India, no? So standard.
True. Well, that was very interesting, Abhijit ji. Thank you so much. And I will let you go for now, but I'm sure I'll want to have you again on our show very soon. Like I said, it's going to be exciting times ahead. And I just hope that that's in a good way. And yes, I will have you again very soon. So thank you so much. And
thank you. Take care. See ya.
Yes, everyone, please subscribe if you haven't already, and do share it with your friends and family and etc. Comment, like, and please keep coming back for more content. Namaste.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.